I want to check in with Jonathan Alter, political analyst for MSNBC and also columnist for the Daily Beast and author of The Center Holds Obama and His Enemies. Jonathan, good to have you back with us.
Great to be here, Ed.
Tomorrow night is the first of 6 Democratic debates. And there's going to be, I think, a lot of Americans who are going to be watching this that are curious about Bernie Sanders and don't know much about him. But they're also going to be somewhat curious about how Hillary is going to handle this candidate that has pretty much come out of nowhere that no one really predicted on the Democratic side. What's the mission for Clinton tomorrow night, other than not to make a major stumble? What is the mission in going after Bernie Sanders?
Well, first of all, I don't think she's going to go after him in a big way. I just think that her strategy is, we're Democrats. We don't fight as much as those Republicans do. We agree on a lot of issues. I have respect for him as my colleague, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of fisticuffs on a personal level. You're not going to see Bernie Sanders hammering Hillary on emails, but on issues they will accentuate the differences. So I think that she is going to be critical of Sanders' position on gun control. Because his answer on that, which is, I'm from Vermont and we don't like gun control very much in Vermont, is going to be a surprise to a lot of liberal Democratic voters who, in the wake of all these shootings, want to see more common sense gun safety legislation, like background checks and closing the gun show loophole and that kind of thing. And his voting record is really open to criticism on that, and she will charge right into that. On the other side, I think Sanders is going to go, not go after, but he's going to be critical on a substantive level of Hillary's flip-flops, for instance, on the TPP trade deal. She said, I think CNN counted on 45 occasions. She said that this was a great deal, and she was involved in the early negotiations, and now she's against it. And Sanders is going to make it seem as if she's changing her position for political expedience.
And he did that yesterday on Meet the Press. Listen to this.
Why should that matter to a voter that you've held this position for much longer, say, on TPP,
Good question.
than Secretary Clinton?
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you why it should matter. And let me be very clear. I mean, I happen to respect and like Hillary Clinton, so I don't get into personal attacks. You know that. But are there differences of opinion that should be discussed? Of course there are. That's what that election is about. I believe that our trade policy is going way back when. I voted against NAFTA, CAFTA, PNTR with China. I think they have been a disaster for the American worker, allowed corporations to shut down here, move abroad. So people will have to contrast my consistency and my willingness to stand up to Wall Street corporations, big corporations, with the Secretary.
So there is Bernie Sanders saying, here's my record that goes way back on trade. And he has a record to stand on because all of these trade deals arguably have not been good for America. And now Hillary Clinton shows up. Is it political expediency for her to all of a sudden oppose the Trans-Pacific Partnership when every union in this country is against it? So I think that's where she is still somewhat vulnerable. Your thoughts?
I agree with that. She is going to look like she's just doing this because his campaign has been strong so far. And what she'll say is, well, I don't agree with you on NAFTA, which my husband negotiated, and this idea that we can be a protectionist nation and that we don't need any of these trade deals, and all these trade deals over the years that you've voted against, you've been wrong because they've expanded trade and that's helped create jobs in the United States. This particular deal I have questions about and will continue to have questions about and think the deal, should be changed. But she'll try to take a more sort of centrist position that doesn't reject all trade deals out of hand, and she'll try to make Sanders look as if he's not examining the specifics of the trade deals and is just, against them ideologically, and in that sense go for more centrist Democratic voters.
Yeah. Well, the quick political talk on this is the majority of Democrats in the Senate are against it. The majority of Democrats in the House are against it. So now she can say she stands with her party. Bernie Sanders can say, I've led all the way on this. It'll be interesting how that all plays out. What else do you think is going to be? Is this going to be a boring Democratic debate. Bernie Sanders says that the network news doesn't pay attention to him because he's boring and all he talks about is the issues. He doesn't take any shots at anybody.
Well, if people define this as entertainment, and I think that Donald Trump has turned these into entertainment spectacles, they're going to be very disappointed. This is going to be a substantive debate. They're going to be talking about, trade issues in detail. They're going to be talking about, who has the better plan for regulating banks in detail. So, if people want to understand better what the big issues are, they should watch. If they want to see one of these candidates deck the other candidate, they should watch something else.